Hello, this is Peter Murphy, President and CEO of the Illinois Association of Park Districts. Today, we are presenting another video as part of our Legends video series. One of the missions of IAPD is to recognize outstanding park, forest preserve, and conservation district board members throughout the state of Illinois. I hope the knowledge and insights these great leaders provide will inspire you to continue to make a positive impact at your agency and in your community. Please enjoy.
Hello, I'm Wayne Utterback, Director of Communications and Digital Content for the Illinois Association of Park Districts, and I'm pleased today to be speaking with Dave Johnson, Commissioner of the Schaumburg Park District, for our latest installment of our Legends video series. I know you mentioned in a previous conversation that you've been there for about 48 years, but if you could just tell me a little bit more about your time there and your background, that'd be great.
Well, a little background. I grew up in Southern California area and did a lot of hiking and activities with the county parks as well as with one block from the mountains. So did a lot of activity in the mountains. I graduated from San Diego State in '64. In '68, we moved to Schaumburg. It was allegedly from my company a 2-year turnaround, and I stayed there until they actually went out of business, and then subsequent jobs in Illinois. I was moved in. I was surprised they didn't have a recycling program coming from San Diego, so I organized through the village a recycling program where we had brown glass, clear glass, newspapers, and all that at a local fire station. So that continued. I was president of the Homeowners Association. We initially started a garage sale program for the whole neighborhood, which was one of the first, and my wife organized that, and from there, negotiated with a builder a land use site for the park district. I brought to them that idea and concept, and today it's Woodstock Park. So that's kind of the background. In 1973, I decided to run for the board. We were kind of looking for more service excellence, I guess, was a thing. And they seemed to be not working as a team. So we got more teamwork after election. And it's been fun. As long as it's continued to be fun, I've stayed with it. Have been asked a couple of times by the mayor or village board, but that's too many laws and regulations, where this is more fun creating programs.
Now, you mentioned fun. That's a perfect beginning to describe this next question, but how would you describe your overall experience with the Park District?
Well, we really coming on in 1973, we passed a referendum that year, passed another referendum in 1978. We acquired land for Spring Valley through grants and through the help of Illinois Association of Park Districts in lobbying individuals in the legislature there. And so it's been fun in that way, in a business standpoint, as well as fun with activities. One of the interesting things, we created a natural playground, which is called Bison's Bluff, and many of those ideas came from a sister city's visit to Schaumburg area of Germany. And they had certain water flow and other things. And also Morton Arboretum has a similar situation there. So it's been kind of a take time for fun. When we had that program with the state association, I was on or chaired the public relations committee, and so we've continued that, even though IAPD kind of dropped that program a few years ago.
Now, what would you say was the motivating factor in becoming a commissioner? What was the main thing that really inspired and pushed you to take that step?
Well, I think I was looking at programs and looking at some of the ideas that I thought was needed. We organized a Spring into Nature lecture series. We talked about park safety and park maintenance. And a concern I had was we had been accepting what I call inferior land donations, which was kind of marsh areas, swamps, detention ponds, and reorganizing that so we had better land usage. And I was concerned about parkland for the district. And at the time we had about 100 acres, and 70 acres of that was unusable. And my concern was all areas and interest. Registration was a long line where people had to line up for registration. Wanted to make that more efficient, but keeping in mind that was 1973. You couldn't register online at that time, but you could by phone and other programs.
Now, what can you tell me about your park district that makes it so special and it makes it stand out and makes it unique?
Well, I believe the Schaumburg Park District is unique in organization. There is a great teamwork here of people pulling together. We have a diversity in the fact that we have one sports center on airport land, and we were on the airport commission, still am. 135 acre Spring Valley Nature Sanctuary, which you can enjoy nature in the middle of building and the boom of Schaumburg. We have good intergovernmental cooperation. We have excellent programs. I think we're focused on customer service and do really an overall great job. We were able, with COVID, to reduce our losses because 50% of our operating funds are revenue producing from classes and programs. So we unfortunately had to go from 104 employees to 70 full-time employees to maintain our balance. It looked like we were going to have an $8 million loss, and it was ended up a little under $300,000. So the reserves kicked in on that. And so the staff pulling together as a team and the board as a team have really done a great job in maintaining our financial responsibility to the taxpayers through this. And the past year was not as much fun in cutting people and controlling that than previous years, but it's was still fun, and it's back to fun now as we're emerging from the COVID-19 protocols.
Now, what keeps you engaged and involved today?
I'm on one state committee, the accreditation committee, And that makes life interesting, and I'm sure it makes life interesting for Tony Lafreniere, our director, because I come back with great ideas, out of the box ideas that other districts are doing, and can impart our program. So it's still, that's interesting. One of the things was Bison's Bluff, what I mentioned earlier, the visit to Germany, the Schaumburg-Lappy area, some of their programs and activities with water and a creek and sand and things, which is kind of was outside the box at the time when we built it. I was on that planning committee along with staff members, and that was a lot of fun. Involvement still with finance and way to control expenses and balance expenses and give a good return on investment to the taxpayers of the Schaumburg Park District.
Now, you mentioned you've been a commissioner for 48 years. Obviously, there are many commissioners that many challenges that new commissioners face. What advice would you give to those who are new to the position, who are just stepping into that role for the first time?
Well, we have two new ones this time. One retired and one moved to Arizona. And I think the thing is they attend the boot camp, network with experienced commissioners, network with other commissioners from other districts, and you get a pretty good concept on that. One of the new ones is really into money management, and the other is into more overall activities.
Now, from your personal experience, what is the philosophy that a good commissioner should adopt?
Well, service, excellent. I think excellence, customer service is really important. We're not the DMV. We really need to cater to our customers. I think ethics is important. Accountability is important. We need to work as a team, as a board, and also as with the staff, be it full-time or part-time. Sustainability. People can experience and grow within the organization, and also dedication. We need to care deeply about the agency, who we serve, and what we do.
Now, when thinking about your time as a commissioner, I'm sure you've met many incredible professionals. What would you say are the key attributes possessed by those who are at the very top of their field?
Well, I believe that dedication is a key to the field, and continuing to promote Park and Rec, and the idea of promoting people within the organization. We've lost, I can think of 5 people over the years that are current or past directors of, and it's all growth and development of individuals.
Now, I'm sure you've seen a lot of challenges throughout your time as a commissioner. What do you see as the major challenges confronting today's park district system, and how do you think those issues and challenges can best be resolved?
Well, I think that the challenge has been COVID-19, as I mentioned, and coming out of that and listening to your residents in order to reach and attain challenges. One example was this year we were not going to have a reduced rate on summer passes for the pools, and with the input from the residents, we implemented that, and they're very happy with that concept. I think listening to input is really important, listening to what other park districts are doing. As an example, my wife is big into monarch raising and rearing, and we were doing that out of the Spring Valley Nature Center. Last year, everybody kind of took their own cages, and raised them themselves and had more neighborhood releases. This year, we're coming back with a limited program in August. One other thing that she has done is in the pollinator area. She worked with NWSRA, Northwest Suburban Special Rec, in developing a sensory garden at the Hanover Park District, and they have taught the instructors how to rear monarchs and how to do monarch releases.
Yeah, and I know with pollinators, it's become more and more of this really urgent situation that people are thinking more and more about. So that's excellent to hear about. I love hearing about any work that people are doing to help support pollinators and improve the way we use our spaces to help them out. So that's fantastic. Speaking of that, what opportunities have you seen in your time with the Park District?
Well, opportunities to develop more nature programs, to acquire the 135-acre Spring Valley, to acquire some other nature areas. Back in growing up, the people I really liked were John Muir, which also is my high school is named after that, and Ansel Adams. And we did a lot of traveling to Yosemite and Sequoia National Park. And the other person was more Stan Freeberg, who was a satirist and more local TV, but also he had some albums and that. And he had two children in my elementary school, and so I really was impressed with him.
Now, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Well, I guess exceed expectations. That was taught to me by primarily my father and my mother. So if you're going to do a job, exceed the job. And I've passed that on to my children and to my grandchildren. So if you have a job, get there early and, work in a professional manner and make sure it's ethical of what you're doing and work as a team for the greater whole of the organization, and you'll get ahead within that.
Now, what advice would you give a 20-year-old?
Well, I have given that to my one grandson who's 27, and other grandchildren, which I have 8 total, even though they're 13 or 10, to work hard, exceed expectations. If you're going to do it, be the best that you can be in the performance, be it schoolwork or be it in sports.
All right, excellent. Now I'm going to change gears for just a moment here. I want to talk a little bit about IAPD and your involvement. What are some of the benefits of a commissioner getting involved with IAPD?
I think the benefits of our learning knowledge, making you a whole person, you get perspective from other areas. In talking to the director at Hanover Park with a sensory garden dedication with combined with we talked about that yesterday a little bit with him about I said, well, how many people are involved? How do we get your people involved? He said, well, they come to 2 meetings a month, and they go to work. They're not interested in expanding their focus. And I said, well, you really need that focus. They had one commissioner over the years that was involved in the legislative committee. And I think learning from a legislative, be it the public relations or be it accreditation, really helps you become a more rounded person in your philosophy there. Also attending the conferences, even though currently it's Zoom, which is not my favorite communication tool, but it's because in getting together and networking is really a great learning process.
Now, what has your experience been with IAPD?
Well, as I mentioned, I was on the legislative committee when we persuaded with Kevin Kendrigan from to pass the special recreation area and funding as a separate tax. I've been on the Public Relations Committee. I've chaired that, and really was a good insight in that, in working with Ted Flickinger or Peter Murphy on that. And currently, I've been on 10 years plus on the accreditation committee, and that's, as I mentioned before, is a great learning experience, because you see what other park districts are doing and how they handle operations, and really an enjoyable situation.
Now, how would you like to be remembered when somebody looks back on your time with the Schaumburg Park District?
Well, I think the most obvious is developing the parks. We went from 100 acres to over 1,000 acres. We went from limited recreation programs to expanded recreation programs. We acquired land, Spring Valley. We built Bison's Bluff, which was a natural play area, playgrounds. We developed, with input from citizens, we developed more programs. And I think it's just that heritage is important. I've been on the board from 73. The Park District was founded in 63. So I've been approximately 80% of the time of the Park District.
Now, when you look back on your service, what would you consider to be your major contribution to the field of parks and recreation?
I believe looking as a park and recreation as a business, and through aforementioned customer service, organization, ethics within the program, and development of land and programs.
Now, what do you see as the benefits of park and recreation services? And are there any examples of this service that you'd like to share regarding your park district?
Well, I think it's customer service, it's online registration, the ability to pivot. In the past year, we've gone to not a printed brochure, but a online brochure with order information, and that making it easy for customers to attend classes, looking at ability for programs to be mixed with activities, youth programs, as well as senior programs. I think we've done a great job in that.
Now here's a fun question for you. If funds were unlimited, what would you like to see done for your park district?
Well, initially we acquired a baseball stadium, or half a team, with the village, worked with them. I would kind of like to expand that. Maybe tie in with a combination of NWSRA associations of 17 districts in helping the Bears move to Arlington Park.
All right, excellent. Now, last question for you. What is your vision for the future of park districts in Illinois?
I think they're going to make some challenges in funding and availability, ability to pass referendums when needed, ability to expand programs, and diversity.
All right, Dave. Well, thank you very much for taking some time out of your day to talk with me. And I appreciate all the work you do for your park district. And I appreciate what you do for the state of Illinois as a whole. We all are working together on making sure our park districts, conservation, recreation, forest preserves, all of our agencies are doing well and serving the communities that we represent. And you're doing a great job there in Schaumburg. So thank you very much for your work and for taking time to talk with me today.
Thank you for inviting me. Have a great day.
All right, you too, Dave. Thank you.